Hi everyone, this is Chavigar and welcome to Azure Developer Community YouTube channel. Today we are again back with our tech podcast series. Today we have Hamid with us. He is Microsoft MCT, and also his contributions to Microsoft is truly amazing and immense because it's been more than 5 years that he has been contributing to Microsoft Azure community, and also he's an MVP, he's an MCT, and really glad to have you today, sir.
Hi, thank you for having me and your time. I'll be glad to answer questions and share my experience through the journey that I was been.
I'm glad to have you with us today. Let's start talking about your Microsoft Azure journey, how you get started with it, and how it felt to be in this for more than 5 to 6 years.
As far as I remember, I've started my journey being a network expert actually. It's nearly 10 years being in industry, night industry, and touching like nearly every aspects of on premises and the cloud side technologies. So 6 or 7 years ago, after working like a network and system expert and system engineering, I felt that, and I was just feeling that everything is just going to the cloud, and in a close future, and I was just thinking maybe there won't be any like local or private data center or private cloud. And once I remember, I was in a Microsoft meeting, and it was like an event, and an expert just told in there that the future of cloud, not just a cloud, and it's just hybrid cloud. So, and by the time it's passing, so I just can feel it a lot better. So as we can see in the market, and like just as a simple example, when you're surfing over LinkedIn or on over the internet, and checking for the job vacancies, and the resources that the technology companies that they are sharing, that we can see that the cloud technologies are just expanding like crazy, and just not every day, just every second and just every hour, see just a feature changed, a new technology just updated, like a new feature just added, and we need to adapt and learn, and being on the flow with that way. So being and why Microsoft Azure? Because since the very first day, I was really interested with Microsoft technologies, with Windows workstation, and then Windows Server and system engineering. And I was just remember once that day I had a game server, and I just loved to making it that server secure, and having a high performance server. So that enthusiasm just moved me from there to today, and I'm really glad because I was always more motivated about cloud technologies, and yeah, as mentioned, especially Microsoft technologies. And nearly more than 5 years ago, I was started to like having activities within the Microsoft community, writing articles, like doing presentations for universities, and helping students who is also motivated to learn more about Microsoft Cloud technologies, especially Azure or M365, and the backend stuff that they are going on nowadays within data centers. And I always like recommend to fresh graduates or the students that they are still studying, my recommendation is try to move on to cloud technologies. And despite it's not 100%, but being more than 50% on cloud technologies, would be having like a bright future.
That's so true. That was really great to hear that from you about how actually Azure is upskilling every day and how it's like impacting a lot of people. So, moving further with it, would love to understand how is your MCT experience, because when you are going and giving trainings to not just students to professionals at the same time, so how it feels to be, and when you see them succeeding, or we can say going and doing that first certification of their life. So how is that feeling of yours?
Yeah, following the definition from Microsoft, and always says that the learning and everyday learning, every second learning should be like hacked into our DNA. So I mean, I always also share it with students. I always talk to my colleagues, and I'm always motivated to sharing experience and learning from other ones' experiences, because that is what keeps us like alive actually in the and in everyday base. So you learn and you get motivated and you share it and you do new stuff during the day, and you feel mm, the summary, and which always feels better, and that the moment you say yeah and that's it, and you get more motivated about it. So my journey being MCT also started from that. So I'm attending like small training courses, being an instructor, and I started like teaching in a boot camp, like 1 day, then 2 day, and a week. And then those training experiences, when I've applied to become an MCT for Microsoft, and then I've started doing the same courses in a wider range with universities all around the world, and with companies. And it always felt good sharing experience and talking about different kind of technologies, not even cloud, I'm not a 100% programmer, but I love to like speak to other kind of like programmers or developers, like other roles within the IT industry. So being MCT also taught me not I'm not gonna not I'm just going to share or teach something, but I'm also going to learn a lot actually from students and from experts who's we are going to share the same session together.
That's actually great. That's amazing. So also, like, how was your contributions to like Azure Developer Community? Like, you contributed to the community a lot. How it felt like, and like how close you are to the community, how important it is for you.
Yeah, I can just say an example how it's important for me, because when I wake up in the morning, I'm always active within the community till the midnight, and that's exactly, I can feel how the community is important for me. And but I remember once I started like some years ago being active within the community. Then I had the chance to, but on that time it was Microsoft TechNet community. And I remember that with each contribution and answering the questions within the community and helping the others, you were getting a medal in there in your profile. And that was also a little motivation for me, because I was just trying to do my best to get more medals in there, and it helped me actually. And it was also like pushing me and charging me more motivation. And afterwards I had the chance to become a forum moderator in Microsoft TechNet, and I started to moderating forums and the categories that I was always active. And that time it was mostly Windows Server and Exchange technologies. Then with the like expanding Azure technologies, I also got motivated, and being active, was also active on. I mean, not was active, but I'm also still active, because it's now it's just changed from Microsoft Technic Community to Microsoft Docs, and it's now question and answering Q&A forums with the same like structure, people and experts from all over the world, from companies and universities. They are asking questions, sharing experiences. So I'm doing my best, just answering the questions and helping out others, and also moderating the forums. I also started a blog with my own name, and sharing my own experiences. It's like a personal blog, and which also helped me to being recognized as a Microsoft MVP in cloud and data center management technologies. And then for this year, at 1st of July, The title has been changed because in the past 12 months I was mostly active with Microsoft Azure activities within the community. Now it's just recognized as a Microsoft Azure MVP for this year. So I hope I can hold it until next year and get renewed again. But beside that, with every activity I was doing, like with the writing articles or recording YouTube videos, despite my YouTube channel is not active nowadays, but within the website and being in third-party forums, which they also talk about Microsoft technologies, and yeah, and those whole this stuff still keeps me motivated.
That's so amazing. Like the second you said that you wake up with the developer community, and then also you are contributing at the mid time as well to the developer community, it feels so good. And also the experience that you have shared, it's truly amazing. And also moving further with it, would love to understand that in which domain you have your Azure expertise, and why is it, and like if someone also wants to get into it, then how they should get started with it, because many a times people just go for that particular domain and they don't have a proper clear vision why should they go for it. So what would be your take on that?
Yep, of course, I totally understand, especially for whom they're interested, like learning Azure and become an administrator or an expert or an architect afterwards with Microsoft Azure technologies. Always being patient is really important with not just with Microsoft Azure. Always learning anything. So there is a book called Atomic Habits. I guess it's from James Clear. It always says, like, put the atoms together, and then you need just the weight. And my specialty within Azure is mostly with Azure computing services and also infrastructure as a service, which like deploying resources and services with code and not just with GUI and from the portal. So nowadays I'm mostly working with computing and Azure DevOps automation technologies. But for whom they're interested, I always recommend, like, if you are really interested, not just try to learn the cloud, but also try to comprehend what's going on in the backend, because the backend is where it was like 10 or 15 years ago, like data center. Because just starting to learning the platform, it won't help, and maybe there will be problems in the future, like someone becomes Azure administrator and then or Azure architect and then having problem with networking, or then having problem with data management. So on having fundamental comprehending of those terms and definitions will always help the person to understand more about the technology. So I always recommend starting with like understanding the network infrastructure, and then understanding the fundamentals of the system engineering, and then starting learning Azure fundamentals, and step by step and being patient. It will be like in a 6 months or to 1 year. Yeah, we'll have a really great summary.
That's actually really great advice, I would say, because people who are getting started with their domain, they actually need to keep this in their mind before starting it. And also, with that take, like, which is your favorite Azure certification and why? Because you have been trainer for more than 5 years, so you have came across so many certifications, so many things. So which is one is your favorite one?
Of course, and my favorite courses always was the fundamental courses, because even now sometimes like quarterly or each 6 months, I started to get over all the fundamental courses that I read. Because sometimes for me it actually happened. You learn something in an advanced level, then starting to missing the fundamentals, And that's why I always try to keep my fundamental knowledge always up to date, because the fundamental knowledge also changed by the day during the time. So that's really and always was like important to keep the fundamental, not even with Azure technologies. Also, if if you are a programmer or a developer or like DevOps engineer, it's really important. To have the fundamental up to date. So that's my it's AZ900 and in Azure fundamentals. So I always try to keep it up to date, and not just that one. That's just an example, but always reading books and always being up to date with the documentation, always active within the community, within Microsoft Docs. So, because if you're deciding to become like an Azure specialist or a cloud engineer or a cloud architect, it's really important to spend more time on it. So there are always time for the other things and for fun or for going outside, being in a restaurant or a coffee. But yeah, we need to cut a little bit from them. And if you really want to, yeah, to understand and comprehend the technology and being an Azure architect at the end.
That's true. That's true. Also, like there's one thing that always comes to one's mind when they get started with Azure, that how they should start with the documentation as well, because right now we know that content, like writing content, is a huge thing. If you are like writing blogs about what you have studied, about your knowledge of any of the certification or anything about a particular topic, it is very much important and it is very much valuable to the person who is just getting started with that particular thing. So in that case, what would be your take on this, that how a person should get started with the documentation, and what are things the person should keep in mind while doing the whole documentation part? It can be in a blog form or it can be for their own learning purpose.
Exactly. For starting, actually, because nowadays Microsoft Docs and documentations are really like structured in a great shape, and you can find everything within Microsoft Docs, and it's always up to date. And especially with Microsoft Azure, I mean, not especially with Microsoft Azure, also with other technologies, and you can always follow GitHub and follow the change and follow Microsoft Docs. So if you just want to start with documentation, and if you are also comfortable with self-study, I always recommend I mean, for me, because always like studying as a self-study was always like more comfortable than going to the courses or classrooms. But yeah, even classrooms are like a great like place to learn more, actually, because when you're attending a classroom study, then you are learning from someone else's experiences, and that person sharing the experiences the way that they understand, actually. But when you are self-study, then you understand on a way that you understand, actually. So then even mixing them and having a mixture of both of them will have a really a great result, actually. But yeah, starting with fundamental documentations, and even from the zero, you can start with Microsoft Docs, and there are virtual trainings. There are also, you can do online laboratories, and following your like YouTube channels, and that the videos from different like educational centers. So all of them, and spending time in a mixture of most of them, so we'll have really a great result.
That was actually true that you just shared, and also that would surely be helpful for many of them who are watching right now this, because documentation is a thing that is really very much important, and somehow when someone is starting right now, this time people somehow don't know the value of documentation. They just leave it, and they like after a few years they're like that I just forgot what I read. So this happens a lot. And also
That's
adding to
exactly,
this,
sorry to interrupt you. That's exactly where I was just mentioning to restudying the fundamentals, because you start with
exactly.
something and then after some time you feel like, yeah, okay, you just forgot very simple thing, and that is exactly where that you need to always keep the fundamentals up to date.
Exactly, like in even when you go and teach someone, and or for example you're going for an interview, they first of all ask you your basics, because ultimately while going for the advanced thing, you just go, you just actually forget all the basics and all the fundamentals, and you were like, you actually don't know how to get started with that. So you need to just get, you have to restart everything from scratch. So it's a long process. So in that case, documentation is very much important. And also concluding this, before concluding this, I would be happy to ask one more thing from you, that according to you, how things have changed in teaching when it comes to cloud Azure. Like when you started, like 5 to 6 years back, how you used to teach, how things have been, and now how things have changed a lot in 2022. Because like after pandemic, things have changed a lot, and now people are being so much tech savvy, and now we have these online things and everything. So would love to understand how your teaching experience has changed.
Yeah, good question. Actually, after pandemic and nowadays, since like we are getting out of that pandemic, I guess yeah, it's already done. Because yeah, we are going back to the offices and we are like having like face-to-face courses and lit courses, and but before pandemic, and there wasn't like, there was actually like online learning platforms and online like remote teaching, but by default everyone, just for instance, when we were just talking about learning AZ900, by default it was, you are going to come to the class and I'm also going to the class, and so the course will happen in there. But by pandemic, I guess like very strong infrastructure just built during these years for remote education, and not for remote education and the courses, but also for working, remote working. And but nowadays that default behavior is now changed to remote. Now nowadays when we are talking about like having a course, whatever technology within Azure, so by default it's now remote courses. So either for personally for me, either way it feels comfortable going to the classroom or like teaching online. But for students also, I think they also feel like more mostly having remote classrooms. And about the performance and the productivity, I guess it's increasing also when, because student at home, there are no stress of like being with someone else's, or maybe shy about asking a question. But when it's online they feel more comfortable actually about it. But that's just an example. There are also other kind of factors that impact students and also the structure within the classroom.
That was actually great hearing from you, because it was so great that you shared everything so nicely. And we talked about teaching, we actually talked about certifications and a lot of things. That was really great hosting you today. And thanks a lot for joining in. And we would surely be happy to see you in any of our other sessions. And I hope you
Of
loved
course.
it joining.
Of course, thank you for having me this time, and I wish that can be helpful for the community. And thanks for having me.
Yeah, sure. Like community would surely be loving this.
Wonderful,
And
thanks.
exactly. Thanks a lot. And surely we would be coming up with such an amazing podcast super soon. Thanks a lot.
Great. Have a nice day then.